everyone, and welcome to the second Ambassador Training Module. We'll be starting the webinar on IEEE Student Brand Operations now. So a couple of things before we start. Please keep all your mics muted at all times. And we will run this training program for about 45 minutes. And in the last 15 minutes, we will have a Q&A session. And the Q&A session will be done mainly through the chat box. So if you have any questions at the end, please type them out on the chat box, and I will read them out loud. And the speaker, Ms. Shareyna, and the R10 SAC committee, we will try to answer your questions. So with that, I would like to pass on to the Region 10 RSR, Ms. Savitya, to give you a briefing on the Ambassador Program as well as the webinar.
Yeah, hope you all can hear me. Amish, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Is it clear?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Okay, hello everyone. Hope all are doing great, and thank you very much for all the participants today for your enthusiasm in joining our first webinar of the year. Many thanks, Shareyna, for accepting our invitation to deliver this informative session. I'm pretty sure all our members will get the fullest benefit of today's webinar. A bunch of thanks goes to our R10 SAC ambassadors and section representatives for helping us to publicize the webinar in such a short time. We received 370 plus registrations for today. It's a very big number. Thank you very much for all. Even though this webinar is open for all to join, it is initially designed as part of the R10 SAC Ambassador Training Module. So please allow me to share some words about R10 SAC Ambassador Program and the opportunities that lies with it. I assure I won't take much time. It will be a very brief one. The R10 SAC Ambassador Program is designed with the objective to enhance participation of sections through appointing ambassadors to spread effective information of R10 SAC activities in respective local sections. These ambassadors will be a bridge between R10 Student Activities Committee and their sections. An ambassador appointed will communicate with their section committee as well as the student branches and report details for them. For example, details such as current student branch officers in the section. As part of the program, we will deliver a series of modules to train our ambassadors to better cater our student body as such. The webinar today aims to deliver information on student branch operations and reporting. In upcoming modules, we expect to cover areas such as student awards, funding, and soft skill related training. Only specific training modules will be open for all. So the majority of these modules will be only designed for our SAC ambassadors to train them specifically on tasks related to handling student branch leadership. So as SAC ambassadors, you will be part of R10 SAC extended family, represent R10 SAC in your local sections. You will be exposed to special training modules and certificates to recognize your contribution. As you could see in your right side, we are lacking of ambassadors, especially from North and East Asia. So we expect to search for suitable volunteers to serve as SAC ambassadors of these sections. So if you are one of the stated sections and is interested to be part of the R10 SAC ambassador program, please do write to us. The given email ID, r10sac@ieee.org. That's all from me. I will pass to Amish to introduce Shareyna and start the webinar for today. Thank you all.
Okay, thank you, Sherry. With that, I would like to give a brief intro about our speaker today. So, Shareyna James actually has a bachelor's degree from Paterson University in New Jersey and an MBA at Keller Graduate School of Management of DeVry University. And she has been working as a program specialist in university relations in IEEE, where she's involved in developing operations and processes and project plans for programs and activities in support of the branches, Affinity Group vitality, and volunteer development. Just to let everybody know that this webinar is being recorded and will be passed on to all of you at the end of the webinar. So with that, I would like to invite Ms. Shareyna to conduct the webinar.
Okay, thank you so much for having me. Before I continue to start, I want to be sure that everyone can hear me. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, you can go on.
I think that you may have to share your screen because I don't have access to do that. So if you could share your screen and share the presentation or pass over the rights so that I can do that. Otherwise, it's not allowing me to share my screen. And we'll just start with slide 20. Okay, thank you so much for having me and inviting me on your call. As the team mentioned, my name is Shareyna James, and I work here in our Operations Center. And I'm going to be talking with you all about the student program, reporting, activities, and answering any questions that you might have. So please feel free if you have any questions to enter them into the chat box as I speak. And at the end of the session, I'll be able to answer any questions you might have. And I'll just do a little pause in between so you can advance the slides if that's okay. Okay, so I want to start talking about student branch leadership and what it means. And while everyone on this call might not be a branch leader, our hope is that there will be branches at your university where you can have a strengthened relationship with students that are local and also your local section. Ultimately, this section and section branch connection is where students and IEEE higher grade members can connect on different initiatives, activities, meetings, and sort of join together to be able to continue to advance IEEE's larger mission. So we do encourage you, if there's not a branch at your school, that you do form one. There's more information on our website, and it gives you step-by-step of how to do that. In addition to the support of your section and your region, and of course, as here at the Operations Center, and if you're interested in being a volunteer leader, we have a host of training that's also available for you to assist you throughout the process. Okay, so in terms of running your student branch, we really look at them as small businesses, and it really gives you this exposure to industry, to networking, and it also gives you an opportunity to sort of run your own business right there on your campus and have some connections through the different departments that may be at your school and also locally. So in order to help you do that, there is an executive committee that should really consist of all of the branch officers. So it's your chair, your vice chair, secretary, your treasurer, and of course your counselor. And ideally, you would want to be communicating with your section and your region consistently so they're aware of what's going on, you feel supported, and you're also able to understand what's happening at the larger level. Our hope is that once you leave your student branch, you'll continue to be an IEEE member and volunteer, and so having those connections with your local section is very helpful to better understand the IEEE organization and to understand that it's more than just what's at your campus. Okay, so one of the things that we absolutely encourage our branches to do is to report. And reporting does a few things. It allows us to really understand what's been happening at your branch, and also any successors that you have in terms of your XCOM and membership. They get a better understanding as to what the branch has been doing over the past couple of years, the finances, maybe any opportunities that you've had to fundraise, and it also demonstrates to us which branches are involved. And there's really not a lot that you have to do, but we do ask for 3 different different steps for reporting. The first one is your officers. In order for us to communicate effectively with you, we need to know who your counselor is, who your chair is, and the rest of your executive committee. And what we do is we ask that as those positions change, that you do report them to us and you complete the form. This way, anyone who's on your executive team will get all the communications that they need to serve throughout the year. One of the most important pieces is the annual plan. And your annual plan is really designed to have branch leaders and section leaders work together to think about the goals of the branch and how the branch fits in with your local and larger community at your section and region level. And we're looking for you to think at the beginning of the year, what your branch may want to do. And we do understand that, of course, there may be some changes with leadership and with ideas. And so the ultimate goal is for us to understand what your ideas are and for you to be thinking about what your ideas are. And so the annual plan is understood to change. And so in order to do that, we're looking for you to really report your meetings and events as they happen. So the beginning of the year, before February 1st, which is a deadline, we ask that you, work with your section, work with your branch, work with your counselor, and think about what ideas you want to have. And so you put that in a plan and you submit that to headquarters. And so a few things happen when you do that, and I'm going to talk a little bit about that in the next couple of slides, but it also gives you some ability to receive funding from our office if you submit the plan. And also, it serves as that sort of historical document. But number 3, the meetings and events. So as your meetings and events happen, this is where you would report them. You let us know, when the event is happening, who's expected to attend. If you want to send any communications, you can do it that way as well. In addition, anyone who's local to you can see this event is happening. So if you're looking to, have a larger audience attend, that's a great way for them to find out. If you're looking for support from your local section, again, that's another way for them to find out what's happening. Registration can happen. Funding can be collected there as well. So I encourage you to have a look at the different requirements for reporting, but as of right now, the most important two that you really want to get in is your officers and also your annual plan, because the deadline for the annual plan, as I said, is February 1st, but also the officers, it helps us to be able to start communicating with them throughout the semester. Okay, so some benefits of reporting activities. One of the things that we want to understand is, who is serving as your leader. Many times we have student branch volunteers who become higher grade members and they become volunteers as they continue their membership within the IEEE. And so it really shows a progression of the volunteer. It also allows us to see all the different types of activities that are happening. And it allows us to really give accolades to those branches and be able to validate any award nominations that happen throughout the year, anything that would help to shed light on the great things that you're doing, and anyone at IEEE has visibility into seeing what the branches are doing. So I think it's really important for you to understand that there's huge benefit to actually reporting. In addition, there is a financial benefit as well, and that's by way of incentives. So you will be receiving, if you report by the deadline, what we call a rebate. And depending on the number of members that you have by 31 December of the prior year, and if you report your annual plan, you will receive money from our headquarters office. And the money is sent to your section, and you'll need to be in touch with your section treasurer to retrieve your funds. But as long as you submit that annual plan, and even if it may not be complete, which we understand, if there's some things that you're still working on, again, we understand. We just want to know that you're working on it and that if you have questions, you're contacting us. So you can see the information in terms of how much you'll be receiving based on your membership statistics. So, as you're planning throughout the year, at the end of the year really is when you want to be focusing on, making sure that all your members are in and that they've reported and they've been active IEEE members. And I know sometimes we have members who are at our campus who just attend our meetings. And so if we don't know that they're official IEEE members, if they haven't officially logged into IEEE and hit that join button, they're not going to be counted for you in terms of your incentives. So we really want to make sure that everyone who's coming to your meetings is an official IEEE member. Okay, so some changes to annual reporting. I know sometimes we've had volunteers who are not sure of what might have changed. They've heard different names sort of passed around, and depending on how long your counselor has been there, he or she may be giving you some information that may be a little bit outdated. So I want to just clarify. The student branch annual plan replaced the student activity report, and that report was something and sort of still maybe flying around there, and there may be some pages that are saved that have this old plan on there, the old report on there, and we've changed it to the annual plan. The link is the same. The information we ask for is a little bit different, and we really try to make the form very easy, and there's not a lot of information that we're asking, so it's really a simplified form. You can literally go in, complete the information that's there, save it, and hit submit when you're ready. And so in terms of the time frame, the annual plan opens up every year in August. And when it opens up, we understand some students may be on break, others may be, sort of in their semester. So we really give you a pretty large window to report. So let's say you decide to report your activities or what you're thinking about doing in August. Well, then you don't need to report them again in January, because that's going to count for that entire academic year. And then it would close 1 February annually. So as long as you complete your planning for the year between August and 1 February, you're all set. And again, any updates that you need to make in terms of what actually happened would occur in the meetings and events module. And there's also a place on our website under student branches, and I can walk you through that. But all of these links that I'm referring to are right there. It's very easy to find. There's just one tab that says Student Branch Reporting, and all the reporting that I'm speaking about is listed there as well. So again, we want you to connect with your local section, and just keep in mind that we do have a minimum for branches to be active and to be considered active, and that is for members, for branches to have membership of at least 10 members. Obviously, the goal, especially for smaller schools, is to, have membership development and continue to have members there, and, introduce maybe the non-engineer to IEEE as well. So if you're having any challenges with membership, or you're not really sure what to do, I would be the person you'd be connecting with, and through our alias to assist you with membership and requirements. But you really want to make sure that, again, by the end of the year, anyone who's coming to your meetings and events, that they are official IEEE members and they've registered, so that you do meet your minimum requirement to remain active. Okay, so if you could just hit the enter button again, there's another little image that I have there. That is one of the resources for volunteers. Can you just hit the button again for me so that the other image will pop up? Perfect. Okay. So as a volunteer, you have the ability to use something called IEEE OU Analytics. And it's not just for students, but I know we mostly have chairs and counselors on this call, so counselors can use this as well. And what will happen is you will only have the ability to view activity membership that's at your school. So there's some trainings that are in there. There's a host of reports that you can run and just find out more information. If you want to communicate with any of your members, members who perhaps are registered to your school but maybe are not coming to your meetings, if you want to do outreach to them and let them know about different events that are happening, all their emails will be here as well. So anything related to students and student volunteers locally, that information will be listed here in IEEE OU Analytics, and feel free to sort of play around with the reports and be able to get more information. Even members who were at your school or some alum, you can get that information here as well. Okay, so we talked a little bit about the section branch connection, and some of you may be thinking, well, why do I even need to connect with my section, and I just want to be a student member. And I just want to share with you that there are a number of reasons why you should connect with your section. I'm just going to go over a few here. So number one, many times branches are looking to collaborate on projects, initiatives, looking for funding and looking for support from professionals. And so your section gives you that ability locally to be able to connect with individuals who are also IEEE members, and many of them who have also been IEEE student members. So some of the members may be from industry, from government, from academia, and can serve as your mentor. And within our IEEE Collaboratech platform, which is available as a free resource for our members, volunteers, non-members. You do have the ability to connect and also be mentored by an engineer, someone who's been in the field for a number of years, or someone who's brand new. But connecting with your section is one way that you can do that. And also, many of the sections are providing career guidance, support. They're introducing you to this larger IEEE network. So those are just some of the reasons why connecting with your section is important. But again, attending those section meetings, finding out who your section representatives are, they can assist you with different initiatives that you have and can also give you additional information as to what's happening at the local level. So I want to give you 3 different ways that you can connect with your local section. That's very simple. And also on our student website, there's a few videos there that gives insight to some best practices and also just a little bit about IEEE and who we are and what we do for anyone who's a new member or a new volunteer. But there's 2 very important positions at the section level that you'll want to engage with. And so that's your section student activities chair, which is generally a higher grade member of it's either a graduate student member or a higher grade member who is a volunteer and also a member at the section level, and also your section student representative. And so the section student representative is a student member at one of the universities or colleges in your local section, and they also support the student activities. If you've connected with your local section through this link, rosters, which you would need to be a volunteer to do so. So if you're an IEEE branch chair or counselor and you've accessed this information and you don't see that there's a section student representative or section student activities chair, it's a great opportunity for you to recommend someone, for you to get in touch with your section and to have that position filled, because this individual will be your liaison between the section and all the student branches. And so the next step, once those positions are filled and or you've made connections with them, is to involve your section representation with the following. So you want to let them know about your vTools events. Again, this gives anywhere at IEEE where they're pulling information to local volunteers, members, in terms of what's happening around the organization, your event will show up. So if you're looking to get more exposure, that's a great way to do so. And so you want to get your section involved because they may have something where you can collaborate on with them. Again, the annual plan and then financial support. Sometimes the sections will require you to submit details in terms of what your event might be and who you're looking to attract, and they may also have funding that's available for you to conduct your events. And so the following is the sort of best practices video, and it just gives you some information about some things that are helpful to student branches as they're trying to sort of keep momentum going and better understand what their section can do to support them. So in your spare time, if you want to take a look, again, it's under that Student Branches tab on our website, and you can watch some of the videos and get a better understanding as to how your section can be beneficial to your branch. Just some important reminders and some information that you may not be aware of. All IEEE student branches are officially members of the local section. So what happens is you, as branch leaders, are reporting up to your local section. So you really should be engaging with your section volunteers and getting an understanding of what's sort of required in the section. And if they're not reaching out to you, you can make the introduction, introduce yourself, because they're also the section is also involved in any new formation. So your region director and the region student activities coordinators and chairs will be, involved in the process of getting any branches approved in your section. But the section is also being informed of that. And so ultimately the goal is to really get the sections involved and get them excited about what's happening, and so that they understand what's happening. There's some sections that are a lot smaller than others, and there's some that are large. So you may have subsections, but it's really good to just have a better understanding as to sort of what's happening and so that your branch is included in the know. So I'm not going to go through the reporting again, but I wanted to also sort of list those links again, because, again, it's that time of year, and it's also very important that you're aware of the reporting that we're looking for you to do. And also, although we have this large operations manual that gives a lot of information, we're not requiring you to necessarily read that. But if you're looking for any information about IEEE policies and sort of how things work and any procedures, the operations manual would be the place to go as a reference. And so we can advance to the next slide. I think I went through some of this already. It's just reiterated here for to let you know that it is very important. Again, I'm not going to go through this. Oh, sorry, this link should have been updated. It is actually updated on the link, but this image should be updated. Sorry about that. But it does give you some information. Section 9 is generally the area where if you're looking for details on the student program, you would look there, and anything having to do with the student program. And the manual is actually not updated every year, but it is reviewed to see if there's any changes, but the link will always give you the most up-to-date information. Okay, so I wanted to share sort of a timeline with you. If you can just hit the advance button again, there's another image that I want to share. But sort of from August to February, this is sort of the plan that happens when it comes to reporting, when it comes to communications, and how we communicate with our branch leaders. So I mentioned the portal that opens up, and so in September, we're looking for branches to sort of begin their membership drives and connecting with their sections and really begin the annual planning for the following year. And so you have the ability to order membership development materials, and we're going to also have some giveaways that will be available in those kits as well. And those are also located on our website, and it gives you a lot of information that you can share with potential members and prospective members, obviously. But you can have flyers, you can have sort of club fair displays, and it gives you all of that information there. So that's a great time to sort of have your membership drive and get the momentum going and planning for that full year. In October, you'll, as a volunteer, you'll begin receiving communications. And that's based on our branch calendar. So the calendar is also available on our website. But what happens is we start communicating with you monthly. There's reminders that go out. We highlight different branches. So again, if your email is not up to date, you will not receive these communications. And if they are, you will receive our branch leadership news, and counselors will also receive branch counselor news. So those communications will go out, and it will give you things to sort of look out for. Awards, programs, scholarship information will all be included in that newsletter that comes directly from our office. So if you don't open up any other email throughout the year, that's the one email every month that we'll hope that you'll open. So November, again, is a final push for membership. And as a reminder, the rebates and the funding that you can receive is based on your 31 December membership numbers. So that's why we encourage you to sort of do the drives and assure that everyone is a official IEEE member before the end of the year. And then, again, that annual plan is due by 1 February. And if you just advance a little bit more, there's another little image that's available. But in the spring of every year, you'll receive your rebate, and those monies will come through your section treasurer, and you'll be able to use those monies for operational funding for your branch. Okay, so I wanted to just share some best practices with you, and I know there's a sort of a full list here, but I'm going to call your attention to a few that really sort of stand out and that I think really gives more of the IEEE experience. And so collaboration with other branches with young professionals in your area, with women in engineering, really gives you a full perspective of all that IEEE offers. And so you have the opportunity to, again, have some sort of technical professional workshops. You have the potential to receive funding for them, and have sort of these experiences that you may not be able to get at your school, but that IEEE provides, also in terms of student branch projects and humanitarian and giving back to the community through EPICS and SITE, you know, having the ability to sort of connect with upcoming engineers, with your local institutions, and serving on larger initiatives. Those are some of the things that students have found to be really fulfilling as members and as volunteers. So again, there is a video here, but sharing those opportunities with your local fellow IEEE members and colleagues at other institutions can really help to make a difference. So I wanted to give you a list of some of the resources that are available on our website. We tend to get a lot of emails from students, and they're wondering, you know, where does everything live, and how do I find anything related to the student program? And some of the most popular questions that we get are related to some of these links. And so we've put them all on our student concourse, which, oh, sorry, there's a little typo in the website. So before we send this out, I'm just going to go and make sure that all of the links are correct, and that there's no challenges there. But on our students.ieee.org webpage, you'll notice that all of this information is there. So you don't really have to search far. As long as you sort of look under our branch resources, and also under our other tabs, you can find funding information, awards information, professional awareness, IEEE Extreme, which is our largest coding competition, and you'll be receiving communications about all of these different happenings, and also you can order membership development materials as well. So some additional student resources that we have, and that we sort of continue to update every year, is our training and some of our best practices and our toolkits. So I wanted to provide you with the links to that as well. And so if you're looking for branding and opportunities to showcase your IEEE branch and you wanted to sort of look cohesive and professional, that information is also on our website. So you can have a look there and download templates and opportunities for you to have flyers that all represent the IEEE experience. So I wanted to provide you with some contact information for student services, which is our team here, our website, and also our email. Any questions that you have about students, about the program, anything that I just referenced is also available to you. So this is our sort of general inbox. We usually ask that you allow a few days for us to get back to you. We have thousands of students, and there's not quite thousands of us. So, but we will absolutely get back to you if you send an email to our alias. Any questions? If you do have a question, if you can just enter it into the chat box, and I'll read the question over. And so I know that Prashan is sharing the screen. So if you want to go to our student website, I can sort of walk you through where everything lives. It's students.ieee.org while we wait for some questions to come in. One of the questions that I see is how to increase membership. And I always tell volunteers when they have their first meeting to get to know the students that are on your campus. I think sometimes we're very excited to sort of tell students what we want to do, and I think we miss an opportunity to find out what they want, find out why they came to the meeting in the first place, and what will keep them intrigued. And I think if you start by asking them what they're looking for in a club, what they're looking for from IEEE and why they're considering joining. And I think if you give them something to do. I think most of the times volunteers stay with the organization because they feel valued and they feel as though we've given them something to do. So if they say they're interested in something, we'll find a role on a subcommittee for them and really engage them in what's happening. But, you know, it's okay for the mission of your branch to change every year if there's a different group of students and they have different interests. I think mobilizing them is hearing what they have to say and hearing their ideas and supporting them, and also looking to your section to do that as well. So I think increasing membership and mobilizing students is really about finding out what they're interested in and supporting that. The next question is how much funding is given for each student branch. So funding is based on membership counts. So your membership counts at the end of the year. So let's say, 31 December, you have 500 students. Well, any funding that you would receive will be based on that number. The opposite also happens if you have 5 students. Your funding will be based on that. You can apply for additional funding. You can apply for funding through your section, but ultimately, that's how you will receive your funding, is based on your membership counts at the end of the year. How many days will it take for approval of regional funding? So that's a question you have to ask your region. It's different for every region, so you would need to find out from your region their process and how long it would take when you request funding. Every region and every section is different. What are the kind of activities that we can include under site? So the site program, they have different requirements for different groups and what you're looking to do. So their website will give you all that information in terms of activities, funding, projects, collaboration. It may be something that's already happening locally, so that may change funding. But if you look on the IEEE website under the site program, they'll give you all the specifics there. And on our student website, funding information is also available, and you can search for funding based on your interests. We're trying to increase the retention rate each year, but it doesn't increase as much as expected annually. How do we deal with the same? So I think as students, we're still figuring out what we want to do in our careers, and so that's constantly changing. So I think members who join as students and who maybe not as committed to the profession may not stay. And I think that's understood, and I know that can be challenging and probably frustrating because you want to have all the same student members there. But I also would encourage you to find out if they're not staying, is it because they're not interested in engineering? Is it because of the programs? Is it because of there's something financial? I think the solution is really in understanding who your audience is and finding out why they're not staying. Because I think we can sort of say, all students don't stay because of this one reason, and I think we'd be doing ourselves a disservice if we don't find out why they're not staying. So you can always survey your students at the end of the semester. You can reach out to them if they're still members at the institution. You can email, as I mentioned earlier, and find out why they may not be staying. Maybe it's just the meeting time is not good for their class schedule, so maybe there's some adjustments that can be made there. I would encourage you to find out, locally why they may not be staying, and ultimately some students don't stay because maybe they've changed, majors, and that's okay too. But I would find out because I think that there's an opportunity there to really leverage why they're not staying, especially if some may not be staying just because you're meeting at 1 o'clock and they have classes, and so making some of those changes can help. Is there a way to create websites with IEEE domain for student branches? Yes. So on that same web page under student branches, there's a link for web hosting. If you click on that, it'll give you all the steps you need to take. What will happen if we only have 3 members from our college IEEE student branch? So if you have less than the amount of members that are required, your branch will be placed on probation, and you'll have 1 year to bring up your membership. And so that, again, you can work with your region, with your section. You can contact our office, and all of those volunteers should sort of be working with you to have a plan to sort of increase that. But, you know, when branches are under the required minimums, they do risk being closed down because they're not sort of large enough to remain a branch. So I do encourage you to work with your section and your region as well to assist with that. What is the term for the branch counselor? Should they change every year? If so, which is the ideal month to do so? So this is interesting because generally speaking, the section locally will appoint your counselor and work with your university. In some cases, we've also seen where the university appoints your counselor. So the appointment can be for 2 years, and that's what we sort of have in our operations manual. However, we have some student branch counselors who are amazing and who stay for 20 years, and they continue to be amazing throughout that entire time. So I think, you know, it's sort of up to the discussion of the branch. If you have a counselor that's really serving your branch, I would continue with that individual. But if there's an opportunity to change and you have other faculty who are interested, I would absolutely look at having them sort of serve as a counselor in the future. How to get the geographic position map of all student branches in a given section. I'm not sure that I understand your question, but there is a map on our website available for student branches. And if you're not seeing your branch listed, you can send us an email with the branch name and address and website, and we'll make sure we get them up on the website. Thank you for the talk. You mentioned technical events. Please maybe just redefine the difference between technical, administrative, and non-technical. So technical will be anything having to do with the profession. Administrative could just be a meeting that's talking about planning your events for the year, about your communications, about marketing strategy, and things like that. So anything having to do with the engineering profession will be considered a technical event or talk. Yes, a presentation will be shared. I did notice a few changes that I want to make that are very small changes, and we'll make sure those are sent out to you. The deadline is February 1st of every year, so you have just a little bit of time. But again, you can you know, put the information that you have in there, and it's understood that if you need to change something, that would be happening in your meetings and events reporting. Is there some roadmap showing what is ahead after a student branch, how students can excel in IEEE? Yes. So the next step after being a student member and being involved is young professionals, and that information is actually on our website as well. It's listed under the exact name is I think it's called Continuing After IEEE, after the student experience. But it is on our website. It's a direct link to our young professionals. And there's also Young Professional Affinity Group, so you can get involved similarly as you have within a branch. But it's higher grade members who are now young professionals, and there's a whole group and a whole team and different initiatives where you can get involved. The next question is the deadline for student activities awards. Yeah, so they are still making changes to the website. The awards deadline will be 31 March annually, so please excuse any typos or changes there. We actually are in the process of changing that. If you can send an email with the link where you saw that incorrectly, we'll make sure we get that changed right away. How to revive an already suspended or closed branch. So if the branch is no longer listed in our database, so that means if you go to rosters or you go to the map and you're not seeing the branch listed or you can't report any officers, then you would need to complete a new petition, which is also on our website under student branches, and a new petition would have to be filed for approvals for that branch. If the branch is still listed in our system as active, but they just need new officers, you can just report yourself as the officer and report the plan and the activities, and that branch will start to have the activity again. And so and then you start having events, and you know, that's where you work with your section and also with our team to help support that as well. Yes. The next question is, how can submit this expense report for societies under the student branch each year. So if you are a member of the branch chapter at the school, you would need to submit your report to the society itself that sponsors you. So if it's the microwave theory, let's say, you would be submitting reports to them in addition to your student branch as well. We don't ask for chapters to report individually, but we ask you to report up through your branch. Do student volunteers have the opportunity to go for an international conference or IEEE? Well, there's a couple of ways. If you serve on a regional committee and your position allows for you to travel, yes. If you win IEEE Extreme, you also have the opportunity to travel to any conference of your choice. So there are some opportunities for sponsorship and travel grants that you can apply for, and that would be a way that you can apply for international conference. Again, the deadline for reporting is February 1st. Every year, you would need to report your annual plan by that deadline. The other reports that we're asking you to do with officers and activities can happen throughout the year. How do IEEE members access IEEE papers published on Explore? Do they need to pay again for sign-up of Explorer? So some papers will have a charge, and so as a student member, if there is a special student discount, you will receive that. If there is not a special student discount, then yes, you will need to pay. What are the job opportunities under IEEE? So there is an IEEE job site where you can search. If you go to our main IEEE.org webpage, you can search for opportunities there. We also encourage students to look locally at their section and region level, because some of the opportunities that are listed may be, thousands of miles away. So I think a good way for you to sort of look for local opportunities would be to connect with your section, because they may also have ways for students to receive internships and things of that nature. If a student has to change his region after he has graduated and is now a young professional, will it hamper their IEEE membership benefits in any way? So your benefits will be based on where you live. If you would like to keep the same benefits that you have based on where you currently live, then you can change your mailing address and leave your permanent address so that you don't lose any of the benefits of where you live. But if you do change your permanent address, then yes, you will receive the benefits of the current location of your address. Is there any award for student activity committee co-chair? If you're referring to the region or the section level, you would need to connect with them directly. We don't have any awards right now for the student activities committee. Okay, answer the question about jobs. What if an institution puts IEEE student branch under a club which is hampering the working of a branch? We've gotten this question before, and I think the challenge is that because IEEE is really a guest at the school, we really can't override the institution. So, when you think of in terms of the hierarchy, your institution rules and guidelines really come first. So you will need to abide by their rules. And again, you can work with your counselor and with your section to sort of make sure that that relationship is successful, but we really can't override any rules of your institution. Student branch chapters, you may be able to receive funding through your sponsoring society, so you'll want to connect with them regarding any operational funding or rebate that is available. But we at the Operations Center here do not have anything specific for chapters. How can we create the IEEE.org mail ID? Again, this is also on our website. If you're looking for the web information for mail, that's also available on our website. Under if you search on the .org website, you'll be able to create a new .org mail ID. I answered the question about rebates for chapters. Do you have any separate branch or section providing student internships or jobs? Okay, I did answer that one as well. how can we improve the industry-academia relationship? I think this is something that has been a challenge, and we do have industry reps that serve on our Student Activities Committee, and so the meeting is actually happening next weekend, and so I think we'll be hearing a lot more about opportunities for industry engagement and what their plans are. And so if you're interested in serving sort of on a subcommittee for that, I invite you to email us at student-services@IEEE.org to sort of get more information about any opportunities for collaboration or to help with those plans. How did the student, thank you so much for attending the Doubts. This was worth attending. Oh, you're so welcome. Thank you for that feedback. This is great. I'm glad I was able to give you all some insight and be helpful. How does the student branch probation and dissolution work? So what happens is if the student branch is not meeting the minimum requirements after a year of being placed on probation, which again is 10 student members, is required to remain active, then they're placed on probation for that year. And throughout that year, we work with them, and the section and the region works with them to, sort of bring those membership numbers up to support the student branch and to really provide some advice and support and maybe just guidance on what may be happening locally. If for some reason the branch, let's say there's just not enough students at the school and the region director says we want to keep this branch open, well, in that case the branch would stay open. If that's not the case and the branch is really not viable or active, then after that 1 year the branch would be dissolved. And so if the branch desires to become active in the future, they would need to submit a new petition and have the minimum, again, of 12 members, and at that case, to be active again. What is the ideal level for student branch leadership? Is it more advisable to have it led by graduate students or undergraduate students? Actually, either one. We have some branches that are mostly grad students. We have some that are mostly undergrad, and we have some that are both. And I think the beauty of this is it may change. So depending on what happens at your branch every year and who's there and who's interested in being involved, I think take advantage of that. I don't know that it would matter whether it's a grad student or undergrad student. I think the activity and people wanting to be involved is probably more important. What are the minimum requirements to identify student branch activeness? So again, it's that reporting tab that I referred you to earlier on our website. Submitting the annual plan is a must. Submitting your officers is also required. We need to know who the XCOM officers are. And also reporting your meetings and events to us. Those are really the only ways that we'll know you're active. So you want to make sure you do that every year, and then you're all set. Is there any chance, as a whole, what all things have to be done by ambassadors this year? I'm going to, when I'm done answering questions, I'm going to let the R10 team answer the questions about ambassadors because that question really is directed for them. Is there any chance for you to support us now, not only in time of probation? Yes. So these webinars this is one way that we're supporting you. I'm also supporting you through communications and giving you the information that you need to be successful and making sure we have the information on our website. So you'll want to make sure, again, your email address is up to date and that you're getting our newsletters because that is where I'm providing the information that you'll need every month for your branch. So you definitely want to make sure that you're up to date on that. If you have a particular question, you could submit that as well to our student services alias. Could you tell more information related to vTools? So vTools is our online reporting system, and it's actually very user-friendly. If you're reporting yourself as an officer, it'll ask you which school you go to, which position, and you enter your information, and that's it. If you're reporting events, it'll ask you for all of the event details, date, time, location, and you just complete the fields that are there. And the same thing goes for the annual plan. It's just asking for specific information, and you just fill out the information that you do have, and if you need to go back later, you can. Um, is the MD kit available to all student members? No, only student branch chairs can order MD kits, and the team that sends those out looks at your membership and when the last time you've ordered them. So you really want to use those materials wisely. And again, only the student branch chair can order it, and they do look at actual membership accounts based on the prior year and what you're looking to do. Does the annual plan relate to the previous or next year's activities? It's looking at the year ahead, so you're planning what you're going to be doing for that year, and it gives you very specific. It asks you for the months that you think you'll be having activities. There's also some text boxes where you can enter information. It's really meant to help you and be a guide to you, so that you sort of have goals set for the beginning of the year, and of course working with your section. Does IEEE establish funds for social welfare activities? Students can apply for funds for different activities they want to do, and whether that's through a grant or a new initiative or something having to do with humanitarian activities. We don't sort of hand them to you. You would need to have a proposal and request it, and in that case, you would get a list of things that's required in terms of funding. And there's also on our website a list of the different funding options that we have, or you could search on the IEEE.org website as well. The next question I think is for Region 10 to answer, so I'll leave that. In terms of the society chapters, R10 can answer those questions. The next question, sometimes we see that initially the number of new members is high, but the renewal of the membership does not match. Most of the members become unhappy with the membership in spite of our efforts. Any suggestions? Again, I would find out why they're unhappy. I think it's easy to sort of assume why we think they're unhappy, but if we really ask the question, and maybe it's not that they're unhappy, but it could be other changes. I mean, when you're a student and when you're a young professional, your life is constantly changing. So there could be different reasons why students are not sort of settled with their membership. I definitely would find out if members don't come back, why they're not coming back. I think we have Region 10 student activities answering some of the questions about the deadline for being an ambassador. Again, yes, Prasant is sharing the link for all the responsibilities for student branch officers, administration. Also, the Center for Leadership Excellence is our portal where volunteers can go get information, and it also gives you checklists of things you can do every month and every year for your branch. All that information is there as well. And yes, there is also a tool we use for resumes. If you look on the IEEE.org site under Resume Lab, you can use that tool as a student member as well. So I do invite you to join the Global Student Exchange within IEEE Collaboratech and our global Facebook page. There's announcements that are posted there as well. Students can ask questions. And I also invite you to be on the lookout for the emails that go out and what's new for students, and also our branch leadership newsletter. It gives you announcements on awards, on funding, on deadlines, and anything that you sort of need to know. So I just encourage you to be on the lookout for that information as well.
Okay, thank you, Shareyna. I think that's
You're welcome.
all the time we have for questions. And thank you for all the participants who are actually joining this webinar. We have had over 100 participants, which is really encouraging to actually see. There are a couple of questions that are more directed towards the R10 sign that is about the ambassador program. Shavi, you want to take this question?
Yep, Amish. Yeah, there was one question about the responsibilities of ambassadors. Okay, if you have signed up as an ambassador, we communicate with you frequently regarding timely tasks. For example, publicizing our activities and attending our training modules and so forth. If we have any special tasks for your section, we will definitely contact you regarding this when it is needed. And there was another question regarding the deadline to register as an ambassador. So if you are interested to be an ambassador of those sections that I have listed, which we are seeking for ambassadors, currently not been appointed, please do write to us to that email. We don't have any specific deadline, so you can reach us anytime. Then there was a question about chapter funding. At the moment, R10 do not have any student branch chapter funding program, but I do believe the different technical societies do have such funding schemes. That's all, I guess, Amesh. Did I miss anything? I think I'm done with the question.
I think that is all.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, I think that is all the questions that are directed. Yes, if any of you have any other questions, please feel free to contact us, the Region 10 team, through our email address, which you can find on our Facebook page as well. And again, thanks a lot, Shareyna, for joining us and giving us all the information today. And thank you for all the participants to actually join the webinar. And we will see you all on our next webinar. We will inform when it will happen again. Okay, thank you.